Thank you all so much for joining. We're so excited to have you here today. My name is Caitlin Morgan. I'm a customer success manager at Miro. For anyone who's just joining us, I'm going to drop a link to the board in the chat. If you want to drop your name and tell us where you're from, what company you're from, anything like that, we'd love to get to know you a little bit better. We're really excited to have you here. And I'm joined by my colleague, Susan, who will introduce herself in just a second.
Hi, everybody. I'm Susan from Miro. I'm also a customer success manager here on the customer experience team. Also based out of Los Angeles, same as Caitlin. And fun fact, Caitlin and I have known each other for about 10 years now. We've worked together for quite a while. So I'm really excited to be co-presenting this session with her today. The purpose of today's session, we'll explain a little bit more about what an unconference is in a little bit. But it's a really fun. We want to give you an opportunity to be able to share some ideas, have a conversation. But the first thing we're going to do is a bit of an icebreaker. Caitlin's moving the screen around, so I'm just going to get us to the point that we need to be at. So let's go ahead and meet each other. We've already popped our names into the chat, but what I'd like you to do is create a little sticky note with your name, your company and your title, and an emoji on it too. It's really simple. If you haven't created a sticky note before, you go into the section on the side, or you can just push N to create a sticky note. Choose a note, and that way you can go ahead and just pop your details in there by clicking on the note, and you can enter in your name, your company, and your title. Also, if you get a chance as well, we'd love you to pop in your LinkedIn connection as well. So there's little instructions on how to do that, on how to add in a LinkedIn link. You just push Control on the icon and place that link into your profile if that's something you're interested in. And Caitlin may be able to show us on the screen how exactly to do that if you need assistance in creating a sticky note or being able to upload an emoji or add in a link.
Absolutely. So I was kind of going through it as Susan was doing it, but again, like she mentioned, you can come over here to your collaboration toolbar, click on the sticky note icon, or just hold down the letter N on your keyboard, drop a sticky into the screen here. Go ahead, again, from your toolbar over on the left, you should see a little emoji icon that you can go ahead and click on. It's really easy. You can come in here and you can search for emojis, or you can go through and find the icon finder. The other option that you have, let me escape out of here really quickly, if I can get out, is that you can go ahead and also link out to your LinkedIn profile. So go ahead. So if you click on your sticky, another option that you have is from the three dots on the right, you can say link to, and then you can just copy and paste in your link to your LinkedIn profile from there. I'm going to go ahead and grab mine if I can find it anywhere. Should have had that saved in another tab, but I'll go ahead and get that so we can show it to you. But yeah, let's zoom out for a second and see who we've got here. Awesome. This is really great to see.
It's really cool. And if you need Caitlin or myself, our LinkedIn profiles, we have them up in our spaceship. So where the spaceship is with our pictures, you'll be able to get a connection to us up there too if you'd like to connect.
Indeed. That's great. So we see I've got a few people here. And again, yeah, feel free to add an emoji. You can also come into these three dots down here. There's a couple different ways that you can get some visual imagery in here if you'd like. So you can click on the three dots. You can use the icon finder. You can use the Google image search. Or you can just pull in a quick emoji to tell us how you're feeling, what you're looking for. You can also feel free, if you've got additional context you want to add on top of your sticky, there's a comment icon right here. So you can go ahead and either click on the comment icon or hold down the letter C and it'll pull it up and you can drop the comment there. It looks like we've got some individuals who've done this as well, and just tell us if you've got any goals or things that you're really looking to do. And yeah, let me drop that link back into the chat again for anyone who is asking for it. Go ahead and pull that in.
Do you need to be?
Great. All right. So there's the link to the board for anyone who doesn't have it. Please feel free to come join us on the board. We're really excited to have you here. Again, for anyone who's just joining us and just getting logged in, I'm going to bring everyone over to me so that you can come here. If you're actively working, all you have to do is click out of the section. This will bring everyone to me, but you can come here and add a sticky with your name on it. Feel free to add an emoji, link out if you'd like to. If your post-it's in the wrong space, you may want to zoom out and you can kind of find it in another section of your screen. Otherwise, feel free to just drop another one on the board. No problem if it got lost someplace else. Yeah, and Susan's got a great idea. You can search for it if there's text already added to it. If there's no
I found it. I'm going to bring it
perfect.
out.
Wonderful.
Where am I?
Awesome. Excited to have you all here. I see we've got, yeah, a bunch of people joining in. So this is great. We've got some agile coaches, it looks like. We've got, of course, some people in customer success, some project managers, some various coaches. I think this is going to be a really great topic for you guys. This is meant to be kind of directed from you all. So we are really here and really excited to hear a bit more from you all and kind of hear some of the learnings that you've had during the sessions over the last couple of days so that we can unpack that as an organization or a group and really make sure we're learning from it. So we're going to give it about another minute to make sure everyone has a chance to add their sticky note here and again, link out to the profile. The other intention here is that you guys can use this as a networking event. So if you see someone or hear ideas from any of our colleagues on this board that have really interesting ideas and you want to follow up with them afterwards, you can come in here. We're going to leave this board open so that you can connect with them on LinkedIn or any other network that you choose to do. We want to make sure that this is an open exchange of ideas and content, so feel safe. Again, for anyone just joining, if you feel comfortable and you're not already sharing your video, please feel free to do so so that we can see your face and get that feedback from you all. But wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and move forward and kind of frame up what we're going to be doing today, so that we've got a bit more context around kind of what the activity is, and then we can dive in with that initial brainstorming and kind of portion of our session. Wonderful. All right.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. Great. All right. I'm going to come up here. We've got some additional content that we want to kind of focus on. So I don't know, maybe show of hands or show of faces if you've ever attended an unconference event before. But as Susan mentioned, really what we're trying to do, Brad has, that's awesome. Let me see by show of hands if there's anyone else who's willing to say that they've joined. Very cool. I see we've got a couple of people who've done this before. But the intent of an unconference event, it's a little bit unconventional. It's unstructured, and that's intentionally so. We're going to start out by actually brainstorming ideas and topics that you as a group want to discuss and kind of unpack things that have come up over the last couple of days. And the intent is to really kind of leverage the ideas, the inspirations, the learning that you've gotten from those sessions, as well as from your colleagues, so that we can explore those a little bit further. So as I mentioned, you set the agenda. We're going to brainstorm some topics in a minute. We're going to have a chance to kind of vote on those, see which ones come to the top as the most interesting for the group. And then this is really going to be a group-led event where you guys will lead the discussion. Susan and I are primarily here to help facilitate and make sure that you are able to use your Miro boards to help drive this forward and that we get some good discussion and conversation going. So our intent here is, again, you will be the primary contributors. If you feel comfortable, I invite you to come off mute when you're ready to contribute and you can share your idea. If that is a bit too much for you, also feel free to just drop your ideas and chat in the chat section. Or as I mentioned, we'll show you in a minute how you can do that through a sticky note or comments on your Miro board. Perfect. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and again, move over here. I know we still have some people joining, but we're at this step one here. So the first idea is to come in, or first step is to come in and brainstorm some topics. We've added some sticky notes over here. I'm going to go ahead and again, bring you all to me. Sorry if you were mid-sticky creation. We've added some suggestions over here. These are just to get your ideas thinking, but what I invite you all to do, everyone who's on the board, please come in, come over to this section, grab a sticky, drop it on the section up here and let us know what are our ideas, concepts, things that you were either inspired by from the previous sessions that you want to learn more about from your colleagues, or just challenges that you're facing in your day-to-day that you think we could explore as a group today, so that we can leverage kind of the group knowledge and awareness and expertise that we have from everybody on the line to make sure that we're using that as a learning experience. So to do that, I'll model this out really quickly. I'm just going to grab a quick sticky and bring it up to the section up here. I can then kind of zoom in on it. And again, in the example of some of the prompts we have, maybe my question is, how to avoid burnout during work from home. I know I heard one of the sessions yesterday was about, remote working and remote working culture. And one of the concepts came up is that a lot of people are expressing that they're feeling a little bit burnout from that. So even though they've taken out the commute and some of those other things, there are some components that are a little bit overwhelming.
Caitlin, would you like me to play some music while we're doing some brainstorming?
That would be great. Susan's going to be our DJ for this event.
All
Again,
right.
If you have questions, come off mute. But again, grab a sticky, add it on here. No idea is too big or too small. This first step, I'm going to go ahead and in my bottom right corner here, I'm just going to grab a timer and I'm going to give us about, I think we said 2 minutes, right, Susan, for our initial brainstorm. So I'm going to go ahead and start this and we'll see where we are in 2 minutes. I'm going to stop talking so you can think for now, and Susan's going to play some amazing space-themed music for us to get us through the next couple minutes.
Needed to be a little bit more space themed, but this will be nice and just relaxing in the background. Here you go.
Ooh, I like some of these ideas. These are really cool. If you're over 45, who's your under 30 mentor? Creating wow effects on a Miro board. Great. Will we bail on the idea of face-to-face events after COVID? That's a good question. And don't be limited to just one idea. Continue adding your concepts and ideas on here. Anything that you want to discuss a bit further is fair game, so add it onto the board. I'd love to hear from you. Facilitating with distributed teams. It's something that I hear a lot. I'm sure Susan does as well. With a lot of the teams that we work with on a regular basis, this is something that's coming up more and more. And we, of course, being in Miro, we have some cool ways, and I would direct you to the Miroverse if you haven't already had a chance to check that out. You can get there by clicking on the template icon on this board, and then there'll be a link into the Miroverse. We can also share a link afterwards. But there are some really cool icebreaker and interactive activities, which I find to be a particularly great way to kind of facilitate events with distributed teams and get people in there excited and contributing.
I was just going to say something really cool that happened recently was we had some competitions where people were uploading their new icebreakers. So there's a ton of new ones in there, and there's a lot of really creative ideas. So for those of you that have used icebreakers before in Miro, definitely check out the Miroverse again to see if there's something new in there for you. They're really, really, really clever. My favorite one is the monster one that we have in there at the moment.
Yeah, that one's cool. All right, so we still have a few ideas that are being added here. So I'm going to give it a second so that we can get these last couple of ideas on here before we initiate our voting. And I'll show you how we're going to go about doing that in a second. So let's take another 30 seconds, finish any ideas that you want to get on there. I see we've already got some people that are starting to vote, which is awesome. You guys are Miro pros already. Just cool to see. While we're finishing up these last couple ideas, I'm going to zoom out a bit and just show you what our voting looks like. We're going to use a really kind of low-tech and easy way to vote. You'll notice over here on the right, we've pre-created some dots. So what we're asking you to do is just grab a dot, drop it on top of any of the stickies over on the left-hand side that you think are ideas that you want to spend the next kind of 30 minutes discussing as a group and brainstorming. We're hoping to get 2 to 3 ideas so that we can have a couple of different breakouts on those topics. So I'm going to go ahead and set another timer. It looks like we've got most of our ideas on the board. I'm going to give us 2 minutes. And again, grab a sticky. You can vote as many times as you would like for as many topics as you want. A good estimate would probably be voting about 3 times since that's the target number of topics. But if you have more ideas that you want to discuss, I'm totally open to you adding more. And grab your dots and add them on top of your stickies over here so that we can get a quick poll of kind of, how you're feeling and where you want to spend the next bit of time discussing. You guys are pros. Again, just drag it over here and again, kind of drop it on top of any of the sections. This is a good example. It looks like some of our stickies may be on top of our dots. So I'm going to go ahead and select these really quickly and bring them to the front just so that they'll land on top of it. But if your sticky's not landing on top of, or sorry, your dot's not landing on top of your sticky, you can just click on it, click on these 3 dots here and say bring to front. That'll bring it to the top, kind of top layer of your board so you can drop it where you want to on the sticky to vote on it. Awesome. This is really great to see everyone voting. I've got our cursors turned off, but maybe I'll turn them on just so you guys can see what a fun collaborative experience it is to see everybody bouncing around the board and just starting to participate. For anybody who's on the line that's a little bit newer to Miro, you may notice that some users are displaying their name. Other users are showing things like guest Mironeer. We're using a feature within Miro called our guest editor function, so it doesn't require you to be logged in or have a Miro account. For the users who are already logged in, that's how we're able to see their identity. For everybody else, we're just kind of seeing them under that guest protocol so that it's really easy for them to get on here. So if you want your name to be represented and it's not right now, feel free to either log into your Miro account or you can set one up and then it should represent that for you.
This is so lovely and bright. Look at all the colors in there. It's wonderful.
I know, this is really great. Wonderful. Okay, I still see some cursors moving around. We'll give this another couple of minutes to see what our top ideas are. It looks like we have a couple of clear winners out here.
Mm-hmm. That's a really interesting one. Rural employee with low bandwidth.
It is, yeah. And I think this is the challenge for a lot of people, especially who were not fully expecting to be remote as soon as it all happened. All right. So I think our voting session is done. I guess I could use a little bit of help figuring out.
Yep.
Oh, somebody's asking how do the Post-its get the +1 in the corner? Just as a quick aside while we're doing this, if you click on the Post-it, it'll pull up your toolbar here and you can add an emoji. One of those, you could come in here and type and that would be a plus and you can add a plus on top of the Post-it and then everyone else can continue to add that on there. Really great question.
I'm just gonna move these guys over.
Thanks, Susan. Perfect. All right, she's pulling out our top ideas. We're gonna go ahead and come over here. I think maybe some of these ones in the upper corner, like the avoiding burnout and the understanding how different people, companies, cultures are handling. It's a really great topic as well.
Is there any other ones that have 4? Okay.
Great.
Cool. All right. Here are the guys that have 4 or more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Perfect.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
So it looks like we've got a couple, like these top 2 that have productivity during remote work and how to avoid burnout look like they each have 5 votes. Is that accurate?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right. So I guess within those topics, we're going to go ahead and take the first one. So let's take the productivity during remote work. I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to come down here. I'll bring you all with me. That can be our kind of first topic that we're going to go ahead and discuss. So come over here. Drop our topic. There we go. Perfect. So if you guys want to come over here, I'll again bring you all to me for anyone who's not following me, just so you can get down here really quickly. The other thing I'll go ahead and do for anyone who is again just joining us right now, I'm going to copy a link to this object and drop it in the chat so you can join us over here. What we're going to invite you to do now is our topic is, productivity during remote work. So this can be as open-ended, but again, we've got a bank of stickies here. You don't have to even limit yourself to a sticky. Again, if you come to the 3 dots, you can come over here and feel free to use other tools. Perhaps it's a Google image search if there's, some way that you found to create productivity during this time. But I think it would be great to have everybody brainstorm and contribute tips that you found, different tools that you found really effective for productivity during remote work. I don't want to give too much guidance. This is intended to be for you. If we have anybody who's brave enough to come off their microphone, if you've got any really good ideas that you want to contribute to this section, we would love to hear it. But I think that this is definitely a great topic and something I'm curious about as well, because I think what I've seen in terms of productivity during remote work and what I've heard during some of the other sessions is it feels like productivity is now just sort of extended in longer working hours. So, within this topic as well, how do we ensure that, I think, somebody put this here, but how do we stick to a schedule or actually protect our time so productivity doesn't just become 24-hour work schedules that we might be adhering to?
Hi, Caitlin and everyone on the Zoom call. My name is Aaron from Melbourne in Australia. I find, yes, go Melbourne, says
Go
Susan.
Melbourne.
Thanks, mate. I find going outside, particularly at lunchtime, just to get some natural daylight, to get some screen free time for my eyes is really, really helpful. It's good down in the southern hemisphere in the world to be getting outside in this time of the year because it's starting to get warmer. But it also, just gives you a bit of a refresh. Coffee is also a great productivity enabler as well.
That's awesome. I've heard that from other people. Getting outside for a midday sort of walk or just breath of fresh air helps reset and keep you kind of grounded, and also I think is really important for overall peace of mind as well. And that's something I am guilty of not doing well enough. But in my defense, in LA, it's been 100 degrees for like the last month or so. So I'm excited to switch seasons. And I'm hoping to do more. Thanks for sharing, Erin. I think that's awesome. I captured your idea here. Does anyone else have any tools that they found particularly helpful? Coffee shops in Melbourne that they want to contribute as well. I think it sounds like some people have been to Melbourne. I need to go. It sounds like it's a beautiful place. Or ideas that have been helpful for productivity.
Well, maybe I can add another one. I put it down here. So I'm Ansgar from Hamburg, Germany. Nice to see some of the faces from yesterday again. So what I consider very important is to have some rituals to get to work and then get back to home again, because normally you commute or you, I don't know, take a car, take a train or anything, and you have time to get yourself your mind into the work mode, and then again after work to get it back into private mode again. And although those two hemispheres are mixing at the moment already, I think home office really is a bad mixture for that in that sense. And I highly recommend that you keep your working area far away from your bedroom. I know it's not possible for everyone, but that's the second tip I have here. But the first one is really like have a ritual to get to your desk. And I got a friend of mine who actually is leaving the house every morning to get his favorite coffee from a coffee shop and then coming back, and that is his way to work. And it gives him the control to get into the working mood. It's a bit difficult if you have small kids like I do, but still works.
I think that's a great idea and a great ritual. And I have small kids as well, so I'm also guilty of occasionally not setting good rituals. I'm curious if anyone on the line has any examples of rituals that you've created for yourself that sort of mimic that commute experience or the getting ready for work, so that there's a clear delineation of work time versus home or family time.
Showering helps.
That does, Brad. That is a good,
good call out. Get up, go downstairs and work. Go take a shower, and then you feel like something happened, like you're doing something different.
Then at least you've accomplished one thing, right?
Yeah, I like Jeremy's comment in the chat about maybe getting into his car each morning for an hour to simulate LA traffic and a commute. Absolutely. That would definitely work to break it up.
Kind of missed that ritual though. I used to listen to audiobooks in my commute, and like that's where I do all my learning. Like, oh, I've got the latest book about X, Y, or Z topic, and I would learn so much as I
reading
drove.
on the train also.
Yeah, not anymore. Yeah.
Does everybody still make time to reward themselves in that way when they're working remotely? I know it's a challenge, but does anyone have any good tips on how to do that and make sure that's still a priority? I know I'm terrible at it. I haven't even been listening to music recently, which is terrible for me. But does anyone have any suggestions on how to make sure to block off that time?
Well, I only got bad tips. That's Netflix and another episode of whatever. So keeping, on your chair and just switching the window is not a good idea, though.
I almost stopped reading because of this. Because I would read when I commute. So not commuting, I reduce a lot my readings. But I don't have an idea.
Yeah, no, yeah.
For me, I tended to overindulge being at home. So I'm like, oh, I work for 30 minutes. Yep, it's time for break. Time to go watch some Netflix. Time to go turn on the Xbox. So I actually have not been doing very well at home, which is why I'm like, I have my schedule. I have my check boxes. I have my priority list. And if I don't get these things done, that's it for me.
Yeah, that's a really good point too, actually, Haley. I know for me, I've been working remote for a number of years, so it wasn't that much of a big shift, but for a lot of people, it was definitely a big change, especially when it comes to routines and getting things done. Do you have any good suggestions on how you've best managed through this process?
For me personally, I have a notebook. I always have a notebook next to me. And because I'm not only in charge of myself, but I have others that I actually have to manage as well through this, I have a list of things that I need to check up on every week, and I have my daily to-do list, and then I also actually have a habits list to make sure that I'm actually fulfilling, like, even this is gonna sound bad, but I know I fell off the wagon with, like, even flossing my teeth. I'm like, oh, I'm at home all day. I'm on vacation, right? Because for us, I'm in the Air Force. Remote work was not a thing, like, whatsoever for us up until COVID, until we were forced to do this. So for the first, I want to say at least couple months, it was just go home. Like, you don't have anything to do. Like, none of our infrastructure was set up. None of our computer systems were up. We couldn't do anything. So it was like a 2-month-long vacation, which is, where I fell off the wagon. It's like, oh yes, 2-month-long vacation. This is fantastic. And then all of a sudden I have to do my job again. Of course, then it was a process of building up my habits after that to actually say, okay, no, we're working. Even though we're at home, we're working. We have a schedule, set your hours, prioritize your tasks, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, that must have been a massive challenge. That's a big change.
It was fantastic. It was great.
I've got a bit of insight about that.
Oh,
yeah.
Much like how I got ready for work going into the office, I've always been an advocate of, if you dress professionally, you are professional. So to make a long story short, I try to dress professionally, even though I'm getting up out of my bed and I'm going downstairs to my office, right? I still like to maintain that professional persona. And like we all know, we're going to be on a video. So again, outside of a routine, I still like to dress professional, like I'm going into the office.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Actually, that was my ritual as well, because I used to work like 5 minutes away from my place. So basically what I would do is I dress up, have my breakfast and go out. And what I started doing was dress up, have my breakfast, and go to the office. So that's a little bit of that.
I beg it 100%. I even use my perfume, although nobody can smell anything. But it's like, okay, now I'm working, I'm dressed up, I know I'm doing my job here.
Something along a similar line. I don't wear a ton of makeup, but I wear a small amount of makeup for work. As soon as I'm done for the day, I go into my bathroom and wash it all off. So that's something basic too. It's just the little things that split it up.
That's so smart. I think that's really an interesting call out too, Susan, because we've heard from a lot of people how they start their day, but how do you actually sign off and make sure that you shut down your computer and avoid that urge to just keep working through the night
That's a good one.
What are your end of day rituals that you guys have created?
Well, have kids around you. They will keep you occupied.
Yeah. That is a good one.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
If I'm not coming out of my office by a certain time, I've got husbands and children dragging me out.
Yeah, that for me was the biggest challenge because like I worked from home, I worked remotely most of my career, no problem. Created my habits on doing that, even though I prefer to work face to face. I created my habits so I could work well from home. But then COVID comes and the kids are home and they are learning from home. And for them, it's all either a complete chaos or it's party all day. And I'm on meetings from 6 a.m. sometimes to 6 p.m. So if my wife also works, and she does, and she's also sometimes in meetings the whole day, the kids are running wild. You know, it's completely uncontrollable situation. There's no one supervising them. That's dangerous. and of course, it's like they will keep you from paying attention to your meetings or doing whatever you need to do. You'll have to try to balance that kind of a force on itself to keep you in check.
Totally. Caitlin and I often have this same conversation. She has younger children and mine are teenagers. So I have to deal with them stealing all of my internet bandwidth, and Caitlin has to deal with slightly different things to continue working throughout the day.
That is the truth. I know.
What do you sorry.
Go ahead. No, go for it.
No, I was just trying to find out what do you do to keep your bandwidth then? Do you switch Netflix and all the PlayStations off, or what do you do?
Oh, my guys, we just had to buy more internet. It was stupid. We have I think we have like 3 routers or something in our house right now. It's just ridiculous. So yeah, teenager problems.
Actually, that is a question that has been being discussed in the Portugal. That how do you do about the internet and the consumptions that you have that you didn't have before working from home, and now it's increased. People here are just starting to discuss if should the business pay for it or pay in a piece of it, or how it should work out. We still don't have an answer, but people are discussing this. I don't know what are thoughts worldwide about it.
I haven't thought about the teenager problem. I have Eros, the wireless mesh around my property, and I have all of the kids' stuff in profiles, and their non-school things get shut off during work hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah, Paolo, your question or your comment about internet bandwidth, that's a really interesting one, actually. It's kind of like things like in summertime, you're in your house and you have the air conditioner running, so your air conditioner bill is really humongous, whereas before it wouldn't have been a thing. So has that come up in other groups before as a concern or something that's being addressed as part of being remote?
Yeah, in my company, it's being discussed like way before COVID. We started discussion on the bring your own device type of policies. And of course, the idea evolved very, very slowly until COVID, which was, hey, everyone brings your own devices. They can work with the devices. You have like a amount of approved from your boss. You have an amount of money you can spend on communication if that's your budget. You can use on your phone, you can use on an iPad, you can use on whatever you want, but that's your bring your own device policy. Now at home, of course, the discussion starts moving to, should we have we don't have costs at the office. There is a set up your own home office type of budget instead, you know, or pay for your Comcast bill type of budget. Of course, none of this have evolved very much still during all of those months of COVID, but the conversation is ongoing. So it is a top
Actually, as a matter of fact, what reminded me of this was because I guess someone said that it had to increase the internet speed, and I'm thinking, okay, so you need a good internet connection to do your work seamlessly and without problems. So if you're forced to upgrade your internet because of work, you'll be paying more for an internet that before you didn't need. So it begs the question, who should pay for the difference and so on. So I don't have a question answer myself, but it's an interesting question to think about.
Yeah.
Hey, Paulo, I'll play devil's advocate. How about those people who just can't upgrade their bandwidth? I'm the person who
my point exactly, yes.
Yeah, yeah. If they are in a place that there is no upgrades, or yeah.
That's a question, because in that case, how can you work if you cannot if you don't have a good enough connection to do your work, you know? So I don't even know how a company would deal with that.
Probably think outside the box and make them go to, you know, an internet cafe. Even though they're rural, they might have to travel 30 or 40 miles, you know, but that might be the only option.
Oh, but then you're gonna gain some real Corona pounds, I guess, right?
Yeah. And that's not all, because if you're going to an internet cafe, usually, at least in Portugal, the public internet is not that good. It's not that powerful. So the best internet connections is either on companies or on home. So even if you are in a rural area, I would say hardly you'll find a cafe with a better internet than yours. Maybe if you go to a co-work place, if there is such one. Actually, I have a friend that is working on a co-work just alone by himself. Again, to mimic those habits of going to work. That might be a solution, but I don't know if in rural areas there are actually co-work places.
Yeah. Well, there is actually a trend happening here in the US. I don't know there in Portugal, Paulo, but here in the US, a lot of people started just finding a different city to work on, or a place that they could spend like extended remote quarantine time and working from. Like I have colleagues that went to work in Florida for 3 months. You know, I have co-workers that decided to move and actually change states during COVID. And a lot of people that started looking for what are those small cities. There are small cities, not large cities, but they have good infrastructure and great connectivity. So there are actually cities starting to go out and say, promote that they are small city environments with large digital infrastructures. So people will move there during this quarantine.
That is a great opportunity, and it has been talked about here as well. So I have a friend of mine that he's a front-end developer, and he just said to his boss that, okay, I'm going to Nazaré, which is like on the countryside. I'm not going back. So either I'm started working remotely, or I just quit and go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And he's there. He's never came back. I mean, he's coming to Lisbon like once a week or something to a personal meeting, or everything else is remote. And we have some cities on the north of the country, like even more remote, that they have those infrastructures. So they're doing that with what Luis said. They're investing on bringing people that would otherwise be on the main cities.
Yeah.
Would go, they make them move to a better place where they have a better quality of living, whereas still keeping the good wages of the city. So yeah, that's very good for taking people out of cities.
Great. Thank you guys all so much for that discussion. I think we're ready to move on to our second topic. We'll of course have more time and space to dig into these. I'm going to come up here really quickly. I think our next topic was around how to avoid burnout at home, which I think is sort of an extension of what we're doing. But I guess quick poll, do you all want to focus on this, how to avoid burnout? Give me a quick thumbs up if you want to focus on that topic. or if we would rather dive into the understanding how different people, companies, cultures are handling the challenges of remote work and still innovating. So give me a 1 for the how to avoid burnout, and a 2 if it's understanding remote cultures. All right, I'm seeing some ones. Okay.
One, 2s.
Okay, I think we're mostly on ones. I'm gonna go with this. Sorry for anyone who wanted to dive into number 2. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna bring you all with me over here. Let's go through the same activity. Again, grab a sticky note and tell us some of the tips. I think we've started touching on some of these, but how are you making sure you're avoiding burnout during work from home full time? What does that look like for you? And again, come off mute. This doesn't even have to be sticky. I think we've got a lot of people here who have some really good ideas. Again, around creating different rituals for everyone who's a little bit newer. Again, please feel free to dive in here. If anybody was really wanting to dive into the other topic, we can add it down here. I think we've got the other one. You can come down to topic 3 and kind of do your own personal brainstorming down there, but we'll keep the discussion around this topic up here for the avoiding burnout for some of these topics. Awesome.
I'll share mine real quick. I'm actually going to add in another one here. I saw someone else gave me another idea as well. So I run badly, but I run. If I don't run, I tend to get burnt out much faster, which is always think is kind of crazy. So whenever I go for a run after work, that's another thing. Wash my face, go for a run whenever I can. That helps a ton. The other thing I do, I'm a big nerd, so I love gaming, just to get away from thinking. And this background actually reminds me of a game I'm playing at the moment, which is very space related. So I definitely do those 2 things. Oh, and also, of course, hang out with my family. But gaming and running are the 2 ones that get me out of my brain, which is kind of...
You can't say that you're a gamer without actually telling us what game you're playing. I'm curious.
True.
Yes.
I can't remember the exact title. I think it's called Fly Me to the Moon or Take Me to the Moon. It's on Xbox. It's a one where you have to explore and do certain activities and fly your spaceship up to the moon. But I got really frustrated because I couldn't beat a part where I had to do all these different things in order. I'm like, forget it, I'm going to play something else. So I'm back to Animal Crossing, waiting for Cyberpunk to come out. So,
As a matter of fact, it was funny because when the COVID hit, I was working and studying at the same time. So, and I had to deal with the COVID. So I felt really overwhelmed with everything. So my degree, it was on digital design. So we didn't really stop the classes. We just switched from presented classes to remote ones. So gaming and the cinema and the TV series was the thing that would make me go by the process. So I would work from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., something like that, or midnight. And then I would take like 1 or 2 hours to relax and play a game or watch a movie. So I can really relate that how cathartic and relaxing it is.
Oh, nice one.
Those are good ones.
I'll go. I would just say that, we always think about preventing burnout as like you have to be walking in nature or hiking or really getting away from the screen. But like you just said, sometimes video games can be great for that. And then I like to kind of remind myself like why I'm even in the industry that I'm in to begin with. So I'll even take some extra screen time and just break it up for 5 minutes and read an article or do something that I enjoy, or maybe have a video chat with someone. And I'm also in Los Angeles and it's like 100 degrees. So I'm gonna turn my air conditioner back on and probably myself.
I think that's such a good call out, Robert, because we do often think it's, like getting outside and switching it up and doing something. But I think it really is important that whatever it is to you is something that's a recharging activity that stimulates you and just is something where you don't feel obligated to do it, but it feels like it's sort of a benefit and something that you look forward to. I also find myself, sometimes feeling the pressure to keep taking on more and more things because, you you can't stop and take breaks, but it's also reminding myself to like, you know, hey, I can actually take a vacation even if I can't really go anywhere and do something fun. Or, you know, like we were saying, just end the day at 5 and go and play with your kids so that you get some space away, or play a video game or read a book, whatever those things are for you. But I have heard some other teams people talking about spending more time on like that professional and personal development. So I think that's cool to hear. I do see some people talking about.
I've got one.
Oh yeah.
So, I subscribe to something called a cognitive behavior therapy.
Yeah.
So I actually find time, pretty much between 5 and 6, where I go through a lot of the practices that I've learned. Something called the 4-square breathing. I just turn my attention to basically my mental well-being, so I'm prepared for the next day. That's pretty much it.
So do you have a resource that you use for that, or?
Yeah.
We'd love to tap into that a little more.
Yeah, you know what? Give me a second. Let me walk right over here.
Okay.
I was going to say, if anyone does have any resources, you can also just drop a link onto this board of those URLs, and it'll automatically kind of create a thumbnail for us.
Oh, very cool.
So people can share those.
So yeah, a book that I've read probably 9 or 10 times, Cognitive Behavior Therapy Made Simple, 10 Strategies for Managing Anxiety, Depression, Anger, Panic, and Worry.
Nice.
Author is Seth J. Gillihan. So there's a lot of things in there that teach you how to improve your mental well-being. There's a lot about thought process. It's a lot about breathing, and I also find she's pretty big right now. Brene Brown, if anybody have heard of her.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, you know, I'll watch a podcast and she immediately turns me around, and I'm so focused on the next day that I pretty much probably released all my energy as far as that day, and I get ready for tomorrow. That's it.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing, Fletch. And I see we've got a resource over here about a centering practice, a YouTube video. That's super cool. Thanks for sharing. So I know we're coming up on our last few minutes. We'll give it about 2 more minutes here, and then Susan and I have a quick retro activity where we just want to kind of get some feedback from you guys about, you know, how this experience has been and what you've learned and what you would love to learn more of. But in our last 2 minutes, does anyone else have any other practices they want to share that they use for avoiding burnout? Or even just struggles and challenges you're having? We can group think and see if anyone has ways that they've overcome that.
Hey, this is Tim. I don't know if I'm coming in okay. Yeah, along the other speaker, there's a class out there. I added the link called The Science of Wellbeing. It's taught by Laurie Santos. It's a free Yale class, and it's fantastic. And so there's a lot of things there, like meditation and gratitude. It really teaches your brain to really fake itself out. And it's a free class. It only takes about an hour and a half a week, and it's really worth doing. It's about 10 weeks.
That's awesome.
That's super cool.
How can we find it, Tim?
I put it in, I added a link in the, or if you just
perfect.
Google The Science of Wellbeing, it's a Coursera course, but it's free. But I also put a link in there in our little space.
You're awesome, Tim.
Yeah, thanks.
Wonderful.
I see forest bathing. I'm all about forest bathing. If it's possible, we were just having a conversation about how tricky it is to do that, or it'd be outside in Chicago when that's going to get cold. It's really hot here in LA right now, so it's tricky to get outside too, but I hope everyone gets a chance to go outside and get some fresh air.
I was going to say, what is forest bathing?
Oh,
forest bathing is basically a Japanese practice of nature therapy, and it's just a series of very short kind of meditative exercises that you can do, designed to do in a forest, and all of them are in some way designed to help you come out of your thinking and tune into your senses.
How cool! I need to do some research. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's really, I can share some links on it. I lead, this is kind of something I do in my spare time to keep myself sane. I started leading like Shinrin-yoku groups out here in Munich, and people love it. There's a really dramatic effect from just focusing on turning your brain off a bit and tuning into nature. And so there's really interesting research on why doing that in a forest is particularly powerful.
Yes, I would love
that. Sounds
if you
awesome.
would share some resources.
Yeah.
I think that would be great, especially as we were talking about first and younger children. I feel like that's really important as part of their development.
Once COVID settle down and everyone can meet up in groups again, we should go forest bathing.
Ooh, I like it. A team building activity.
There we go.
But on your own. Wonderful. You guys, thank you so much for the dialogue. I'm going to come up here. I'll bring you all to me. Like I said, I know that there's more content and things that everyone will be sharing. But we wanted to just run a quick retro. Really appreciate your feedback and getting involved and your willingness to share and participate. I know the unconference is a little bit uncomfortable in that it's asking you to share and participate and be part of the speaker series. So what we would love to hear from you now is just from this experience or from the distributed conference, what have you learned? What do you still desire to know? And what have you kind of gathered from today that you think that you can actually apply in your daily life? Again, grab a sticky, use an image, add your feedback and your content here so that we can get that feedback from you and just hear what that's been like. Oops, I think maybe
that was me, sorry.
There we go. Hopefully we can get this locked down. There we go, I think it's locked. So yeah, grab a sticky, come tell us anything that you want. And yeah, if anyone has any additional ideas you want to share as we're kind of wrapping up, feel free to do that as well. I know we've got some ideas that are being dropped in the chat. So thank you guys for sharing all those resources. That's awesome. While we're getting, I guess, the feedback asynchronously on the board, for anyone on the line, I guess, was this everyone's kind of first unconference experience, or has anyone been to an unconference before?
So it was my first one.
Awesome.
Awesome. So now you know what to expect. Next time you're good to go. You'll be the experts.
So in my office, we actually do these regularly for problem solving to actually get to the root of various issues that we're having in the office. So we've done, and I've facilitated things like this from anywhere from 5 people to I think 30 or 40, something like that was one of the last ones that we did. So this is awesome. I love this stuff.
Oh, good.
And yeah, for anyone who's done these before, if you have ideas on how to facilitate them, other creative ways of doing it, we would also love to hear that. It sounds like we've got a mix of people who it's their first time and other people who've done this before. But we would love this. And yeah, for anyone who has a desire to know more about Miro, kind of how to use it and experience, please reach out to Susan and I. We would be happy to show you and connect you with our team internally. We're also going to leave this board open so that you can go ahead and keep playing around with it. And we've got some really helpful resources online that'll help you get to know it as well. But thank you all so much again for your participation and willingness to share. It's so cool to hear from our peers and colleagues about the things that they're doing and practices that they've established. And now I need to go find a forest so I can do some forest bathing. I'm very excited about that.
We need one
that put a link in there.
Thank you.
Does forest bathing work in Joshua trees?
Forest bathing works in any outdoor environment and anywhere. It's especially powerful where there's wood, because wood trees put out something called phytoncides, which are how they protect themselves from bacteria and fungus, and we breathe those in, and those have a pretty dramatic effect on our natural killer cell count. So they boost our immune system. They also help us sleep better and and lower our blood pressure. There's a lot of really interesting stuff coming out now.
This is brilliant. Cool. See, Caitlin, I'm going on a quick trip in 2 weeks up to Big Sur, so I'm going to go test it out for everybody, and I'll let you all know, because I'm pretty sure he's there.
I'm going to Sequoia next week, so it's like we were planning this.
Hey, Susan, Caitlin, and this is my first unconference. How long should it be? You know, I mean, like we have an hour. I mean, you know, and I know most people say as long as it needs to be, but generally, if we were to set up a time, how much time would you set aside for something like this?
I think it depends, right? Like the last one that Caitlin and I did only went for about 45 minutes. So this one was a little bit longer than the first one that we had. I don't know, Caitlin, did you hear anything from Edo or when you're looking into it?
I know, I think that's a great question, Tim. I unfortunately don't know that there is an ideal size. Amount of time. I do think it depends a bit on the number of participants that you have and kind of the overall conversation that's happening. So I would say if you're starting it out, you know, I know one of the things as we were preparing for this and before our last session that they did say is, you know, it is common with an unconference that you may not get very much attendance because for a lot of people, they want to be a bit more passive in their participation as opposed to active and engaging and doing that. So I think you can start out with sort of a shorter time frame so you have a bit more control and a way to dip your toe in. And then as you have a larger audience, kind of expand from there. But for anybody else on the line, yeah.
But Caitlin, so last week I had an unconference from our Scrum table here in Hamburg, Germany.
Yes.
So that is normally it's an evening meetup, and so people are used to have it like 2 to 3 hours.
Oh wow!
At minimum. And what we did there was that we had quite like you did, you know, collecting topics, and then we had like I think 4 breakout rooms.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And even also 5 breakout rooms and 4 time slots. So it was like half an hour each. And so we had in total 20 slots that we could use. Of course, we have been more than the people in this call here, but you can do it for a whole evening without any problem. Depends on what the people expect. So this was a meetup that normally takes like 2, 3, or even 4 hours in the evening. So then people expect to be there that long. And if they have an agile background, then they don't know what a bar camp is and all that stuff. So it's okay for them. It's nothing that's new to them, I would say.
Yeah.
But you can do it from a whole evening, even a whole day if you want to.
Yeah.
If there are people who have interesting things to tell and to share, that's a very nice one as well, Tim. From 45 minutes to a whole day, I think everything is possible.
Yeah, and that's a really cool way to structure it. I like that.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you all so much. I think we're up on time. Again, we appreciate you being here. We're going to keep this board open. I know that there'll be resources shared with you afterwards. Thank you all for your willingness and anything to participate. Feel free to connect with your colleagues and peers. And we hope you have a wonderful afternoon, evening, or the rest of your day.
Thank you, Caitlin and Susan. Seriously.
No worries, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.